I'm doing a video today to talk to you about psychic abilities, occult, mysticism, magic, witchcraft, and them whole shenanigans. And the moral fucking code, man, like, it's proper bothering me. It's been bothering me for a long time. I've had to deal with this so many times on my own journey, and I've kept my mouth shut and dealt with this behind closed doors for too fucking long. So end of now. Basically, it makes me so angry. I'm fired up. The dark feminines had enough. So throughout my journey with witchcraft, occult, psychic abilities, all of that shenanigans and stuff, like, I've always had, regardless of the journey, the path, the spaces that I was in, the people I was learning from, or the people I was teaching, a very high moral code with this stuff. And I don't know whether this is from lessons in a past life, karma, whether it is, it's embedded deeply in my DNA, so that even though the whole way through my journey, even if I go right back to the beginning when I was first learning it, like, I was very much aware of having this power, having these abilities. You know, it comes with a price and it comes with a cost. All magic comes with a cost, yeah? And even when I was like very naive and practicing this, I very much was aware that to never use these abilities to bring harm to another or to invade their space. Now, what do I mean by this? So when you have psychic abilities, whether they are, whatever way you want to look at this, you could look at psychic abilities as a traumatized person who has got high sensitivity to their environment, who is very good at reading people's bodies, who can read their, like, have got very, basically, because you've experienced trauma, you become very perceptible to your environment. So you are very aware of people's energy, you are very aware of people's behaviours, thought patterns, you pick up a lot of stuff because you've had trauma. So that's one element of it, but that isn't the only element of it. Like, as human beings, we all have access to psychic abilities. It's just usually when you've experienced trauma, these are switched on a lot quicker or a lot earlier on. And I'm still a true believer that you are born with it, because even before trauma occurred in my life, I definitely had psychic abilities. I was just so unaware of this. And that was actually really hard work, if I'm honest. A traumatized person with psychic abilities and zero awareness was a hard life to live, because I would pick up on absolutely everything, consciously and unconsciously, and just be consumed with everyone else's shit. And then as time went on, you know, you learn to not pick up shit and you don't go looking for it either. But the point of this video is there is so many people who are switching on to their psychic abilities, who are, and like witchcraft and occult and mysticisms all over social media, and black magic and voodoos and God knows what fucking else. And with a world full of people who are quite traumatized, quite vengeful, quite angry, it's very, very important that you remember the goddamn moral code to this. So how do I explain this? I want to get my words across clearly to you, because this is so important. How do I put it? So for me, for example, even if I could pick up on people's faults, now that I am aware of what's mine, you spend time getting to know your own energetic body. I can very much distinguish when this is something that is mine, that I'm experiencing, or whether I'm picking up on something else. And that's how I can, like, oh, this isn't mine. But actually now at this level, I don't often pick it up unless I am intentionally trying to pick it up. You know, I don't go about trying to do this, but that is the point. There is so many people out there who are having these skills switched on, whether it's through trauma or psychic abilities, or through learning and practicing skills in different spaces, turning to mysticism, turning to occult, turning to magic of such sort, because they're, like, you know, they're in a bad way. But if they don't go to the right spaces, they're going to be taught the wrong things. And throughout my journey, like I said at the beginning, every space that I attended, I've always been greeted by some dickhead who abused this power, and who tried to actually, in so many ways, put dark magic on me, send demonic energies, psychic attacks, who have performed magic on me, invaded my space astrally, invaded my space in the dream state, invaded my home, who have sent things to me, energies. You know, before I'd spend ages protecting my energy, protecting my home, protecting my children and my car, visualization bubbles. I don't do any of that now, because for many, many reasons. First and foremost, if you have the belief that you need to protect yourself, there's a belief, that belief alone means that you're weak and you're leaving yourself open to these attacks, and there's no point me just saying this. You have to genuinely believe that you are powerful enough to not attract this stuff and protected enough. And my journey led me more towards God for that reason, the purity of God consciousness, and led me to be able to be an empowered person where I no longer need to protect my energy or space. But that has taken me, about 14 years to get to that space. So there was a time and place for protection, because I didn't believe I had the power to protect myself. I believed something external to me needed to protect me because I wasn't as powerful as the demonic energies, as entities, as all of these things. So I needed that protection back then. But now I know that they don't stand a fucking chance. So I don't need to do that in terms of those protection. But there is a lot of people who have over this time sent those things to me, who have invaded my space, whose abilities have become switched on. And even if lots of people have done this out of vengeance, out of codependency. I've had so many friends who are mega codependent, and as I was healing my codependency and coming out of these trauma bonds with certain friends, I took my space from that. And the ones that I met through mysticism or occult, they didn't like that. They want to stay in their own trauma bond, codependent relationships. And the more independent I become, or the more empowered I become, that annoyed them. It just, it triggers people. It triggers people because they don't want to look at their own shit. So they have actually, without even knowing, they used to grass themselves up as well, mate. Through conversations they'd have with me and things that they'd do. I would try. I've got so many stories, so many stories of specifically one person that I'm aware of. But there is so many, as I say to you, right from the beginning of my journey. Circles that I attended, people that were jealous, people that didn't like the fact that I was quite switched on. Sending me shit, trying to. And what happens is when people practice occult, practice this sort of stuff, these demonic energies, like I said, they can attach to your dense energies, your insecurities. So, you become really fearful or doubtful, or it flares up shame. Anything that's within you that's a dense, dark energy, these demonic energies can attach to and tickle and wind up. And it's that's kind of like a possession or an attachment. You can get attachments. I've had attachments to me, dark attachments. And some of that wasn't always from other people. Some of that was me playing in stupid places and doing things I really shouldn't be doing, like going to certain places and being Billy Big Balls, thinking I could help spirit pass over and I could do this. I was very, very naive at this point. A lot of my journey was self-taught, so I had to learn the hard way. I was always guided by God and spirit. They always had my back. And it was part of the journey. I had to learn this stuff to get to the point that I'm at now. But that's how it works. And that's what they do. But now it seems like people have got even worse about it. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people, and they're using these abilities to invade people's dream space, to invade people's astral bodies, to invade people's mind space, energetic body. They are fucked up. Half these people are seriously codependent. You pull your power away from them, they don't like it, so they start coming to visit you and doing things. And like I said, a couple of people have actually they're so stupid. If you really sit with people will always tell you the truth. You just got to be able to listen. So in conversations they'd say things and I'd be like, oh, that's a bit fucking weird, I didn't give permission for you to do that. Or even down to the fact, a couple of times I'd be out walking with a friend, we weren't on no mystical journey, because there's a couple of times I was helping people with their abilities. They'd start opening up to it, And I had a big moral code about it. I always said to them, like, you know, you don't put out something that you don't want to come back. You don't invade someone's dream state. You don't do any of that. You don't invade someone's thought space. If someone asks for, it's like with card readers, yeah. If you ask for a reading, then you're giving permission for that person to like read your energy. Otherwise, you shouldn't even be drawing cards asking how is someone feeling about you, how is someone thinking. You're invading their energy without their permission. So even card readers, like, you know, like sitting at home, codependent, like, how is he or she feeling about me? That's fucked up. You can't do that. You can't ask how someone's feeling about you without their permission. Well, you can, but, you know, what you put out comes back 10 times more. And now I feel like these people are going to reap what they've sowed. And because it's time for this to be outed, you know, this is real. This is real. There is humans do have psychic abilities. Occult is real. Mysticism is real. Magic is real. Like, it's not some kind of woo-woo world that we live in. It is real. These abilities are real and you can access them. All over TikTok is like how to create spells, how to do this. And like, you know, all the way through my journey, even, I can't tell you the amounts. When I was quite a traumatized person, had lots of dense dark energy, there was times where I really wanted to use my abilities, yeah. Not even necessarily for revenge, like, but, well, yeah, it was actually, like, I was seriously angry, and I'd be like, oh, how can this person treat me this way? Like, when you have these abilities, yeah, and it's very hard for me to verbalize this, but your abilities are amplified by emotion. So even if you're not conscious of it, this is why it's so important to be aware of your abilities, because if you're not conscious of it, when I've been highly emotional about something and I state something very clearly, it usually happens. And I kid you not, like, I've actually, when I was unconscious to this, I've been really angry about something. I said, oh, I wish this person would do this, and then the next day it fucking happens. So it's like, I'm very aware that I cannot fuck about when it comes to intense emotions, especially anger, or like dark emotions have huge power in that world. So even when, like, I was in a really bad way, being abused, in like really wanting to, there was an option for me to protect. There was a spell that I could do to protect me. And in this protection spell, there was two ways of doing it. The first one would be that any kind of negative energy, any kind of bad vibes that were being directed at you would be mirrored back to whoever was sending them. So, you know, that's kind of like a protection. But the second type, which is the one I did, was to just protect me and the children from the negative energy. Not send it back, to just transmute whatever negative energy, whatever bad things were being like sent to me and my children, to just protect us from it and transmute it into love. Don't send it back. I don't need to send it back. Just protect me and the kids. And that was right back at the beginning when I was naive, very scared, just learning about my powers. That moral code, that's what I'm saying to you, that moral code has been embedded in me for a very long time. So I've never, ever, and I can hold hand on my heart, used my skills for wrong. It's always been for the highest good and for love. Now I don't even practice any of this stuff. I'm talking baby witch shit, yeah, but this is what a lot of people are at. This is at the level that they get. Like, they don't even go as far as that. They stay baby witch and they just think they're so fucking powerful and they can, oh, I astral travelled. And lots of people, like, let's go back to the story of that girl that I was friends with, and we'd go for walks and I'd helped her with her abilities. They started switching on, they were strengthening, she was getting like excited about it. And then one day we're just going for a walk here and I'm chatting to her and I really was like confiding in her as a friend. And she was treating me like some kind of human experiment. She was completely bypassing her own trauma, completely bypassing everything else. And she was just like tapping into my thoughts, trying to read my mind. Like, basically, I didn't want to, at this particular time, we'd gone for a walk and I didn't want to talk. I'd closed off. I was shut down. I just wanted to be in the space of a so-called friend that she'd portrayed herself to be. And, you know, she wouldn't respect my boundary of that I don't want to talk. So she kept coming into my thoughts, trying to read my thoughts and telling me. And I was like, you're fucking, what are you doing? Get out of my head, mate. If I wanted to talk to you, I would talk to you. And she kind of told herself, I'm doing it for your greater good because, you know, I'm here to help you. No, you're not. You know, you don't like the fact that I'm not sharing with you, so you're reading my fucking thoughts. Do one. So that's one example. A second example is having a conversation with someone who'd learned to astral travel. And this wasn't actually at all relevant to me. She was sharing a story about one of her friends. Oh, she's having bad problems with this bloke. So she astral travelled to his bedroom just to see how he was and to whisper into his ear certain things. Fuck. You serious? Don't do that shit. Like, that's control. That's black magic. People sending things out to people, sending bad vibes. Listen, I'm telling you now, you don't have to do any of that shit. You're so highly protected. When you work with God and your highest love, there ain't shit coming near me, mate. As I said to you, I don't even need to protect my energy. Send your fucking demonic energies my way. It ain't gonna touch me. Like, it ain't gonna happen. And then there's been times when people are teaching this. There is actual people teaching blood magic, sex magic. It's all manipulation. Magic is manipulation. That's what it is. So, you know, if you've got codependency or narcissism or trauma, you should not be practicing magic. If your psychic abilities are coming on and you are becoming more in tune with telepathy, mind reading, energy sensing, being able to do all this fucking amazing stuff that we can do as humans, can you please just use it for good stuff, yeah? Do your own healing. Use it for healing. How about that? How about stop like, oh, I've got a bit of power now and you're going to use it. Trust me when I say you might get short-term gratification, like to, you know, tickle your little egos. You ain't getting no long-term shit. It's going to come full circle 10 times more and affect you, your family, your children. Like, you can't be doing this. And there's so many people on social media that are like offering vulnerable people spaces to come to practice magic, to do this stuff. And you are getting dragged down a bad route. Trust me, please just be aware. If your psychic abilities and that are coming on, seek out someone who's going to teach you how to use them to be more in tune with yourself so you can get to know your intelligence systems, your body, understand what is communicating with you, and then learn how to, like, you know, not pick up people's stuff unless they give you permission. Like, you know, isn't it obvious? Because, you know, we can't control our faults. We have millions of faults. God knows how many faults. There is an actual number to it, but I can't think per second, yeah? So sometimes you can't, all the time, you can't control your faults. Faults just happen. I know myself, yeah, I have the most random faults come in my head. I would not want someone to read them. It doesn't mean necessarily, like, faults are not truth. Faults are faults. You can't control them. So say I was having a fault, like, and it just popped into my head, like, that person's a prick. But they just pissed me off for that second or something, yeah? Like, I don't want them to know that. If I wanted them to know that, I'd tell them, yeah? So why would I then go and read someone else's faults? I'm very much aware, and I'm also aware of imposter syndrome and all other things that can occur, yeah? So there's other faults. Like, I might have a fault, like, I wonder if I fell down the stairs one day and just died. I'm not joking. Sometimes these things would happen to me before, not now, but like I'd walk past the stairs and be like, imagine if I tripped over there and just died. So if you was reading my mind, you'd be like, fuck, is Laura suicidal or something? Like, should not read people's thoughts. And I know that because, as I said, I don't want people to read my mind. So I wouldn't do that. Have some fucking morals, please. Because this is doing my nutting now. And like, I don't really, like I said, it's not in my awareness now that people are doing this. If they are doing it to me, like, you know, I can handle it and I will work on my own dense energies. That's why I work a lot on my own dense energies, like, not just because of the fact that working on your inner child and your unconscious and your subconscious and your shadow and all that sort of stuff makes your life so much better when you've got that awareness, because of this reason. Like, the less dense energy, I had a lot of dense energy. I had loads for these demonic energies to attach to. They was like, oh my God, she's throbbing trauma, go get her. And they was sucked onto me left, right and centre. And you can ask a girl that I actually went to a circle. I've only ever been to someone else's circle once in the past 4 years, and she will tell you of the exorcism that I had to do on my own self and what came out of me. And that was from someone sending a demonic attachment to me, and it attached and fed off my trauma and grew and grew and grew, and I was like a shadow of the person I was. And now, like, because there's less dense energies, it doesn't attach to me. But this shit is real. You can't be naive and pretend that it doesn't happen. So please, like, if your psychic abilities are coming on board, if you are, and say, like, you know, you're like, oh, I'm an empath, oh, I'm a psychic, oh, I'm this, like, follow the moral code. Otherwise, it's going to come back and bite you in the arse, mate. Like, and stop sending bad energies to people, because it ain't fucking right, mate. Sort your lives out. It's mental.